Namanda, 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 Namanda. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out on this blustery day. I think that's how Winnie the Pooh would describe it. So we do really appreciate you coming out here and appreciate everyone watching online. I know the weather is threatening to be really bad. We'll see how that turns out later. First, to begin our service, let's begin with Sutra chanting, and today we will chant Juseige. And it's on page 23 in the small book, and page, I had it memorized and forgot, 93 in the big purple book. 23 small, 93 big. Namanda, 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 Namanda. つむげちつだつみふしょがんがくえりくとし最初尊しがんやこか大戦お感動国書天人とうちん妙見ダマンダブダマンダブダマンダブダマンダブダマンダブダマンダブがんにしくどく平等正祭道本も大心往生安楽国ナモアミダ仏ナモアミダ仏ナモアミダ仏ナマンダナマンダナマンダ。Okay, next we will recite the three treasures, or let's recite the three treasures. It's on page 3 in the small purple book, and I bet it's on the screen too, huh? The three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life, now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the Buddha Dharma, now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves your supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord, in your life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda. Okay, thank you. I'd like to now deliver the Dharma message. And so, today I want to talk about a topic near and dear to my heart, Godzilla. Can you see him up there? Yeah, Godzilla. Actually, Godzilla, that's his English name, and in Japanese, it's Gojira, right? Gojira. Apparently, it came from Kujira, which is whale, and Gorira, which is gorilla. So they took the go from Gojira and they stuck it together with Kujira, which is whale. So Gojira is his name in Japanese. So I grew up watching Godzilla movies. I lived in Boston. There was a TV show on Saturdays called Creature Double Feature, and they showed all kinds of movies that I loved. I think they're often considered kind of B movies, right? Creature from the Black Lagoon, which apparently was beat Godzilla for suitmation, for like the suit, the full body suit, as opposed to puppets or whatever. So Creature from the Black Lagoon I remember seeing. I remember seeing Island of the Mushroom People, which is an incredible Japanese movie, horror movie. Godzilla, Rodan, Gamera, Mothra, all of those movies. I watched those as a kid. Oh, Attack of the Killer Shrews, or Giant Shrews, that's another one that I remember seeing as a kid. That was terrifying. And now I watch it and I'm like, that's ridiculous. It's these dogs in these, little outfits that are supposed to be giant shrews, right? But so anyway, so I grew up watching Godzilla, and I enjoyed him. And Godzilla, depending on the movie, sometimes he's a bad guy, sometimes he's a good guy. Sometimes the movies are really kind of kid-oriented more than others. But as an adult, I watched the original. I actually have the DVD, the original Gojira or Godzilla movie, and it has 2 discs, the Japanese version and the American release. And they did something fascinating. Rather than, it's not just the same movie dubbed, it's scenes from the original movie, but then Raymond Burr is a journalist in Tokyo when Godzilla is attacking, and so he has friends in the Japanese military, but you can tell they're Nikkei, they're Japanese-American actors, and so he's like trying to get the story, and so they intersperse this footage of Raymond Burr into the film. So it's kind of neat, because you actually watch the original movie in a way, but instead of it being dubbed, it's like they did something really interesting with it. But I also like watching the original Japanese version. That's another thing, getting older and learning Japanese finally, because I didn't learn it as a kid, and being able to watch the films in Japanese is definitely my preferred way to watch Godzilla. To hear the original actors' voices. And actually that original movie, the ending is different in the Japanese, and the message is different for the Japanese and the American versions, because it's only less than 10 years after the atomic bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the end of World War II, right? So it's actually fascinating, really interesting to watch. So this is kind of what Godzilla looks like. I took some screenshots. That's in the original movie. That's Godzilla coming over the mountain, right? And his face looks funny in this, I think. Here's another one. He's eating a train. Okay. Here's another one. This is when he uses his atomic breath or his fire breath or whatever. But his back spines also kind of light up. They're like glowing, right? Oh, here's a later movie. So I forget which one this is, but so, this is becoming, it's kind of more kid-friendly, but I just love Godzilla's expression. Even though it's a suit, he just really, and so my cat would do that sometimes too. Right? Don't they have the exact same expression? Right? In the shape of their eyes and everything? So you can tell I like these movies, right? But let's see. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Okay, so now there's a new Godzilla movie called Godzilla Minus One. And Godzilla looks totally different, huh? It's not a suit anymore. They're using computer graphics, but they did a really, really good job. So I want to talk about this movie just a little bit. No spoilers. So spoiler alert, I'm going to try not to do any spoilers. It's more my experience with this film. It's a war movie. It's a movie about World War II. It's a movie about, I think, how the Japanese population was treated by the government and by the military during that first half of the 20th century, which was, we could call it the militarist period. All that stuff is going on long before World War II started in 1939, right? There's all kinds of fighting going on before that, but for some reason, we consider World War II to start in 1939. But Japan, for decades before, fighting Russia, fighting China, fighting, all kinds of stuff. So I watched this movie. It's not so much about the atom bomb. It's more about kamikaze, or in English we say kamikaze, right? But kamikaze, right? The pilots who had to sacrifice their lives to try and take down American ships, right? It's about Tokyo after the firebombing. So I've heard that more people died in the firebombing of Tokyo than died in like Hiroshima or Nagasaki, right? So the atom bombs were another level of horror, right? Of basically crimes against humanity and nature, right? But the World War II, Tokyo was firebombed and just razed to the ground, right? And so that's where this movie takes place. It takes place in the aftermath of Tokyo. And that's one of the kind of neat things, though. You see them rebuilding. You see them coming back to normal life. But Godzilla's there. It's like, it's not history, right? History is reflected in this film. But then there's this whole another layer with Godzilla attacking. And I don't know, the main character, you just see horrible things happening, tragedy after tragedy to this main character. And I remember at one point just thinking, come on, really? You're going to do that to this guy after all that he's been through? I cried throughout the movie. I mean, I cried in Barbie too, right? So that's not necessarily saying anything. But I think it's because I have an interest. I always had an interest in World War II since like junior high school, European theater, whatever, but also Japan. My mother is Japanese from Japan. I'll talk about her in a little bit. I think that's part of it, that it is a war film, and you have to see the suffering that these people are going through. So the movie ends. I should have, there were so many trailers at the beginning. I kind of got there fast and was like, maybe I should go to the bathroom. No, I don't want to miss any of the movie, right? And then it's like 25 minutes of trailers. And it's like, I could have gone to the bathroom so many times, right? But I didn't. The one movie I'm looking forward to is Dune, Part 2 of Dune, okay? So that's what I have to look forward to. But, so I watched the movie. About halfway through the movie, I'm like, I should have gone to the bathroom. But I'm going to stick it out. This movie is just like tearing me apart and just so incredible. So I stayed through to the end of the movie. Normally I'll sit there during the end because the music was incredible and I want to see, is there anything at the end? I looked online. Is there any like special ending after the credits? No. Okay, I'm going to the bathroom. So I get up, go to the bathroom, walk, that little hallway after you leave the seats, and I just started bawling. I think it was the music that was playing that was used in the film. I just started crying and I couldn't stop. And I went to the bathroom, there's one other guy in the bathroom, and I'm just like crying. I'm like, don't look at me while I'm crying, you go to the bathroom, Man, this movie I can feel it now. Just even thinking about it, and I'm like moved to tears. It's a movie. It's just a movie. These aren't real people. They're actors playing roles. Right? So I was just like, wow, this film is like really touching me, like really moving me. But I drive here to Oakland, and I pass homeless people on the street. I pass these, tent cities and everything, and it's like, what an eyesore. Let's get past this person. Right? How come this movie moves me to tears, but I can see a real person in front of me and not necessarily feel anything, right? That I can kind of compartmentalize it. I mentioned my mother. Another thing I like about these movies is they're from the 50s and 60s. So this is a scene from one of the 60s ones. And that's kind of what my mom's home village in Iwate looks like, right? It looks like rural Japan, right? And so you can see the people evacuating. It's kind of interesting, right? They're evacuating because Godzilla is attacking. And so here's a picture of me and my mother and father. Soon after I was born in Tokyo, but we moved to the States when I was about 1. But this is at Meiji Jingumai. You may have seen this picture before, right? And so I'm talking about my mother because what this reminded me of is 1991, Gulf War, right? We went to war with Iraq, right? And I remember being at home. I was in college. I was like a sophomore or junior in college, and I'm at home, sitting on the couch, watching the news. I have an image of one of those black and white shots of one of the jet fighters, launching a bomb maybe. I don't know if that's really what I saw, but that's kind of this image in my head. And so it's war footage, right? Real war footage of what's just happening. And my mom said, turn it off. I was like, why? I want to watch. This is the news, right? She goes, turn it off. So I did, and she started telling a story of her life in Japan at the end of World War II. She was born in Sakhalin. It's the island north of Hokkaido. It's a big island. So that's why I mentioned Japan and Russia fighting, because Japan took it from Russia, right, and sent colonists. My grandfather was a colonist because he wasn't chonan. He wasn't the oldest son in the family, so he got nothing. Right? You got no land, you got no nothing. You had to go find your own way. So he found his way going north and being a colonist in Sakhalin, which Japan I think called Karafto. And so my mom was born there with 2 sisters and a brother. And apparently my aunt says it was idyllic. It was the best time in her life. It was wonderful. But when they were about 5 or 6, I think, World War II's ending, my grandfather gets drafted a week before the end of the war. So he's gone, and then the Russians start coming, right? And Russia is coming to take their island back. And so my mom said they had to, for a while, they were putting up a Russian sea captain. They had to let him live there with them. And that his girlfriend would steal stuff from them, but then the captain was actually really nice and would try and give it back, right? So this really interesting things happening, and then they just had to leave. They heard that their ship's leaving, going back to Japan. And so this is why she wanted me to turn it off. It's like bringing back these memories of having to walk to the south of Sakhalin to get away. And they tried and they couldn't because airplanes are like strafing them. So they could only travel at night. They had to hide during the daytime, and they could only travel at nighttime. They could only, and she remembers stepping over corpses. Right? People are just dead, lying in the ground. And so that's what this 1991 war that the United States was waging was bringing back for her. Right? So I've never experienced anything like that, but my mother did. Different experience than a lot of people. A lot of people who are here, right, experienced the camps. Some people who are members now were in Hiroshima when it was bombed. We have some Hibakusha members. My chanting teacher, Reverend Kusada, was on the outskirts of Hiroshima when the bomb was dropped. Also, one of my teachers in Ryukoku when I went to grad school. Right? So there are still people around who've experienced World War II. Right? There are people around who've experienced other horrors of war. I know that at least one member who is a Vietnam vet, right, and has to deal still with PTSD from that experience over 50 years ago, right? And still this deep impact on him. So, in Buddhism, now, unfortunately, one thing we should know is that the Buddhist sects in Japan did collude with the government leading up to the end of World War II, right? And were involved in Japanese war efforts, right? And yet, I still think that Buddhism has this message of peace. Right? Unfortunately, I think any humans will mess things up anytime. Right? We have the ability to mess with things, to use any message can be turned around, and that's one thing we have to be careful about. That's why you can't just, I think, accept a message that's being told to you. You got to think about it. Right? You got to be critical. Don't just accept it just because someone's telling you. Right? And I think that's part of Buddhism, is to have that kind of critical mind. I think that's part of wisdom. Right? The wisdom of the Buddha sees things as they are. I do not. I do not see things as they are. So part of Buddhism is try and see things as they are. Another part of Buddhism, and maybe more specifically Shin Buddhism, is realize that my wisdom is extremely limited and that I don't see things as they are. So it's kind of a middle way between those, I think, huh? Try to see things as they are and recognize when I don't. And hopefully we get closer to seeing things as they are, but maybe not. And maybe I think I do, and I know, but maybe I don't, right? So that always that kind of critical side. The other side is compassion, right? And so, like for instance, the feelings that I feel when I'm watching this film, I think it's important. I don't know why I'm crying so much lately, but maybe it's just the stress of what's going on in our world. I don't know, right? And so that's something I can think about. But to feel that and feel, wow, the suffering of someone else and to be touched by that, I think is another part of Buddhism. That's why the kanji for compassion, ji-hi, the he of compassion, is kanashi. It's talking about the Buddha, but Buddha is sad. Right? Buddha feels the sadness of others. Kannon, Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva of compassion, the hearing the cries of the world, right? Perceiving the cries of the world, feeling this, feeling the feelings of others. Now, it's not something we can do all the time, and maybe that's why we sometimes you can't feel that all the time, and you have to shut it off. Right? Just sometimes maybe we get a little it's too easy to shut off. Right? And that's different for each one of us. That's something that I can't judge anyone else. I wouldn't tell someone else, you're not feeling enough. But I can look at myself, right? And I can try and acknowledge these feelings. So, we're showing the Barbie movie next week, and the Barbie in Buddhism is I think there's clear examples, right? And so that's going to be at our study class next week on Saturday. I don't know if we could show Godzilla Minus One here. It's rough, but maybe not. I watched on YouTube, you can look at comments, and someone said, "This movie's so amazing, I almost cried." I was like, "You almost cried? I'm crying through the whole thing. I'm crying and just thinking about it, But everyone's different, right? And so I don't know. I don't know if there is Buddhist message in it, other than peace, right? Other than that. But also, though, maybe things are complex. I think that's a really important part of this too. And so for example, just to kind of back up now, if you think of Godzilla, partly you think of the movies, but does anyone think of the song? Blue Oyster Cult? Oh no, there goes Tokyo, go, go Godzilla. Yeah, right? It's a great song. I haven't actually figured it out. I'm going to figure it out. But the lyrics are interesting. Oh no, they say he's gotta go. Go, go Godzilla, right? Is it saying go away, or is it saying go, go Godzilla? Yeah, it's interesting, and that's Godzilla. Godzilla really, it's not he's the bad guy. It seems like it sometimes, but even in the movie, sometimes he's the good guy. Or sometimes he's the bad guy, but he gets convinced by Mothra to be a good guy to protect the Earth. There's a great scene in one of them when Mothra is trying to convince Godzilla and Rodan to fight for the Earth. And they're like, no, the humans are always bullying us. Why would we fight for them? It's such a great scene. Really interesting stuff. So, they're silly movies in a lot of ways, but I really enjoy them. And so I'll share this is the other lyric from Blue Oyster Cult's song, Godzilla. History shows again and again how nature points out the folly of man. Godzilla. So that's another part of this too, right? That Godzilla may seem like the enemy, but really? Right? To pick our enemies too easily maybe is another message that we can think about if we watch this film or if we watch Godzilla films. So I want to thank you all very much. I didn't spoil it, did I? Are you going to go see it now? Right? You can go see Godzilla. Unfortunately, it was Godzilla Minus One minus color that I saw, which was only out for a week. They did a black and white version, which totally fit, because it takes place in the 50s, right? Wasn't it black and white back then? All the movies are. But anyway, I know it's not, the world wasn't black and white. But it's definitely worth watching, I think, and want to appreciate everyone attending today. And we're going to sing a song about peace. It's not always easy to get there, but I'm thinking of my mother's experience, thinking of the experiences of people now, right? That war is not something to get into easily, right? Let's stop firing rockets. Let's stop trying to crush certain groups or certain people, or they don't agree with our agenda. So let's, sometimes they attack us. Do we have to attack back? So maybe I'll close with the words that anger is never overcome with more anger. Let's do it in Gassho to conclude my talk. Right, this is the words from the Dhammapada that I've been sharing recently, and I think many others have as well. Anger is never overcome by more anger. Anger is only overcome by the absence of anger. This is an ancient truth. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida. Okay, and so we're going to switch over to music. And so let's pull out the blue binder and sing the song, May Peace Prevail. which is under M. It's not easy, but sing out. I don't like being the only one singing. Let peace live as we talk, with kindness in our voice, embraced in Buddha's light. May peace, tranquility prevail throughout the world. Let peace live as we learn, with eyes that self-reflect, to always light our way. May peace, tranquility prevail throughout the world. Let peace live as we help, with rays of gratitude, connecting hearts and hands. May peace, tranquility prevail throughout the world. Let's talk with everyone. Let's learn from everyone. Lend help to everyone. That peace, tranquility may spread throughout the world. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Nam 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 nam. Okay, and now I'd like to call on Robert Noguchi for announcements. You might have to turn it on, Robert. Next. There.
Hello. Oh, sorry. Hi. Good morning, everyone.
You woke us up.
I'm sorry my message says Happy New Year. It's a little late, but
Next
thank you
week.
very much for joining us today here at the Buddhist Church of Oakland. My name is Robert Noguchi, and I have a few announcements. See if this is going to work. First, I want to thank Reverend Bridge for his Dharma Talk and officiating this morning's service, Reverend Michael Endo for assisting with the service, Steve Tadasaki for playing the organ, our host 11 group who's providing hospitality for those of us here at the temple today, and our Zoom crew downstairs taking care of the sights and sounds and the presentation in our YouTube broadcast. So thank you all very much. We resumed our Buddhist education programs. Our study class and Dharma chat is continuing. Last week we had one on Shinran Chuning, our study class, and then as Sensei mentioned, on Saturday we're going to have our February study class for, Barbie and Buddhism, next Saturday at 2 p.m. here at the church, followed by a discussion and Q&A with Reverend Bridge. And next Sunday, you know what next Sunday is? Yes, that's right. It's Nirvana Day. So we hope you'll join us for our next Sunday at 10 a.m. for our Nirvana Day service. and our February Shotsuki Memorial and Adult Dharma service immediately after that. Then in the afternoon, there's something else going on. So anyway, for those of you who don't know, we do have a membership here. We'd love to have you as become part of the BCO family. So if you'd like to join as a member, please go ahead and see one of us, or there's information available on the website and downstairs in the office. Okay? And once again, thank you very much for supporting the Buddhist Church of Oakland. And for more information, see our website. And the bulletin boards downstairs have all been updated this week, so you're welcome to take a look at the information down there. Okay? Let's see. I think that's all I have. Sensei, I'll send it back to you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Robert. This will conclude our Dharma Family Service, and we'll be having our annual general meeting afterwards at about, guests. Oh, let's introduce guests. You want to stand up and, yeah.
But we have a guest today, and it's a second-year student from IBS. It's Sam.
I know Sam, so I was thinking, just like he's just here. Any other guests want to introduce yourselves or be introduced? You don't have to. Okay. You want to? Yeah.
Hello, my name is Ann Okahara, and I yesterday saw the IG post about this temple putting up the banner about supporting Palestine and free Palestine. So maybe you want to come and see what this temple is about. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Okay. So this will conclude our service. Let's conclude with Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. And you can come up and offer incense if you have not had the chance already.
Go ahead and make the announcement about afterwards on the lunch. And before they start heading out. Okay, so. Just a quick announcement. Shortly after the meeting itself, we like people to hang around because we're doing a promotional shoot for the upcoming National Council meeting at the end of February. So we want to do a welcome to BCO shoot. And so right before lunch, we're going to meet downstairs. So this is after the meeting and before lunch. So, and that's the other thing. We're going to have lunch afterwards down in the social hall. So please stick around if you can. Thank you.